The House of Representatives has resolved to invite the Governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Olayemi Cardoso, and the Chief Executive Officers of commercial banks to appear before it to propose solutions to the challenges posed by the lack of documentation of point-of-sale users across the country. Well, the resolution follows increasing concerns and challenges associated with the undocumented identities of POS users in the country. Some lawmakers say cases of fraudulent activities within the financial system have been established against POS operators. They say there is a necessity to combat such illicit practices and safeguard the integrity of financial transactions within Nigeria. Well, risk management specialist Okponung joins me now live from our studios in Lagos. Thanks for being here tonight.
Thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, so, let's begin with unraveling why we have undocumented POS operators in the country. Are you able to make sense of that?
Absolutely, yes. Yes, I can totally relate with what is happening and why we have undocumented POS agents in the system currently. The offering of POS services to users across Nigeria has been a major driver of financial inclusion in Nigeria. And this is something that even the banks have been trying to achieve over the years. And so this was very welcomed, and it creates ease for users to be able to carry out their financial transaction. But yes, what came with this was such that the barrier for entry was lowered. And that's the vulnerability that came with the system.
So it looks like in trying to solve one problem of financial inclusion, we have created another one, which is criminality and fraudulent activities. But let me ask you, because sometime this year, I recall the CAC mandating that every POS operator should be registered. And there was a kickback from the Association of the POS operators or mobile money operators. They say there's no need to over-register them. They already go through the checks through interbank system services, and that, they're also serviced by financial institutions. So can we really say that there are POS operators who are operating undocumented outside of the system? And there is an issue about documenting them as a ploy by the CAC to generate revenue and nothing more. So how do you respond to all of that?
So first, it's the right thing to do to register this POS agents. Although it's apparent currently that the registration that currently happens is definitely not enough, because we've had multiple cases of when the bad actors make use of their system and you're trying to trace and narrow down to who did what, you get to a dead end where you are unable to find out who carried out the activities. So currently, although they register with the very basic minimum and they're done with the agents, there are different layers to it that makes it such that people can go away unregistered. There are levels of super agents, for example, who sometimes even go ahead to have sub-agents. And then those sub-agents tend to use their own documentation to sign up and are carrying out transactions. Now, a situation where you carry out investigations and then you approach the super agents, you realize that you are after the super agent. The super agents did not actually do proper documentation for the sub agents. And that's the dead end. And so you have people using the system and they cannot be traced. And this is something that should actually be curbed. I can't speak to the situation being a scenario where the government wants to drive revenue, but I know one thing for sure. This system, and this is what we do every day to try and ensure that this financial ecosystem is actually safe, and secure.
Make it safe and secure. And that brings me to the issue of the KYC, know your customer policy by the CBN, that helps us identify really these operators and those who are behind it. How do we clean the system?
Yes, absolutely. This is the first step, ensuring that they are actually registered, and that's one. And then two, actually verify the information that are being submitted. Because we've realized that there are situations where IDs are synthesized, where the identification of the individual does not even actually exist. So there's a huge work that needs to be done in a situation where we're collecting information as KYC, and that we are actually verifying that information against an actual system to ensure that this person is who they say they are. And that's one step. There is a second step that needs to be done to ensure that what they said they are doing for business, there is actually a situation where the operators are actually visited, and transaction monitoring should be introduced into this system. So, yeah, what I would say is that this system needs to be cleaned up in a situation where we need to actually collect this information, and not only just collect them, verify them, and carry out continuous monitoring to ensure that they are actually doing the business they enrolled for.
But Ita, let me ask you, can we rule out complicity in what is happening? Because some of these POS operators have more cash to offer you than the banks sometimes. There's no limits to the transactions they can do, unlike what you have in the commercial physical banks. Can we really rule out complicity?
No, well, definitely we can't. And I'll give an example. You know, during 2020, for example, when CBN started putting up certain limitations on cash withdrawal limits, now people easily just moved on to the POS businesses, which they were even closer to them. It saved them the stress of even going to the bank, and it was just easy. It was convenience. So yes, people just turned to them to get along on their day-to-day needs. So yes, that we have to do a lot in that regard. Yeah. So there's a huge level of like laid backness in that system at the moment. So that we need to also fix.
We need to clean the system up, particularly when you look at the security lapses that we've been seeing and how transactions are made. When you hear those stories, they're mind-boggling. Thank you so much, Ita Okponung. I hope I did not murder your name. He's a risk management specialist. Thank you for being on Newsnight tonight.